What's up, nerds? Welcome back to the Monster Bass channel. I'm Jeff with the Aggressively Average Anglers, and today we're talking about a bait I'm probably going to throw instantaneously upon the melting of the ice here in Michigan, which is the Strike King KVD Perfect Plastics. Yes, it's a gosh dang mouthful. Caffeine Shad, the 4-inch fluke, which is also a do-it-all, multi-purpose, 157 ways to rig type of bait. So today I'm going to share with you guys 5 ways to rig the Caffeine Shad. Let's get into it. And before we get into the 5 ways to rig the Caffeine Shad, if you would so kindly consider subscribing to the Monster Bass channel, smash that like, ring that notification bell, come back and hang out with Rick live every Thursday night, and jump on over to the Aggressively Average Anglers channel. If you, like me and my friend Paul, consider yourself an aggressively average angler, you love and are obsessed with maybe fishing and collecting tackle, and you want to get better at fishing, you want to be able to hit any new body of water and know that you're going to catch some fish and be able to excel with new techniques all the time, we got the channel for you. So hop on over and subscribe, and we go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, so consider joining us there. All right, the Caffeine Shad. It's a 4-inch fluke. It's beautiful, and it comes in a bunch of different colors. We'll talk about this rig in a second, but this is the Caffeine Shad. So you've got your little hook placement down there at the bottom, a little longer nose section there for a 4-incher, and then this nice tail section here, a little single tail instead of a fork tail fluke, which gives you some sweet advantages, which we'll talk about here today. First rig is already on the board. Check that out. You can just Texas rig it. This means you can do a lot of different stuff. Now, I prefer to just straight weightless this baby. No weight added. If you're fishing deeper areas, ledges, etc., you can definitely add some weight to this. Full-on Texas rig. I like to let it free fall, so I'm not really pegging that weight unless I'm dealing with a lot of grass. So if it's heavy, heavy grass and I want the weight, I'm gonna peg it. No grass, no peg, which means that the weight is going to kind of free fall, allowing this bait to fall slowly after it. Now, weightless wise, as you can imagine, it doesn't really sink so fast. It's kind of sitting really slow sinking, and if you're twitching it, I treat it like a jerk bait, you're going to draw some reaction bites. With a size like this at 4 inches, there's no bass that's going to ignore this thing or shy away from it. It's going to get munched. I love the white color. That would be my go-to starting point. If you're dealing with really murky waters, you might go with a darker color. If you're dealing with just stained waters, you can go with the other color I'm going to show you, which is more of a watermelon red flake. But that pearl, it just does so good. This is kind of like my do-all color. So here's rigging option number 1. Go weightless. My preference with this is that I'm throwing it into the trash. Anywhere that I see cover, I'm going to wood. I pitch to wood. I'm just like twitching it around that. Grassy flats, as well as pads. Anywhere you find pads. I treat this kind of like a frog, and if you rig it this way, where you kind of bury that hook eye up there, it's a lot more weedless. Now these heads, they hold up pretty well. This is like a good semi-durable plastic. You're getting a good cross between the action and the durability, so you can do a lot with this. And when you get 8 to a pack, I mean, you can make a few mistakes, tear a head off here and there, whatever, and you can still keep fishing. Here would be another fantastic, supernatural looking color that I like to throw. It's that watermelon red. So whenever you're throwing watermelon red, you're doing a great job resembling bait fish. As such, I love to throw it on an underspin. Here's an example of one. So, your underspin of choice, this is definitely a longer shank underspin, as you can see there. Being that this is a 4-inch plastic, I feel that this sets me up perfectly for that bite. It is not a paddle tail, it's also not a fork tail, but this tail is gonna do quite a bit of moving as you're swimming this around. And then with that added underspinning blade there, you're getting the flash, which is attracting those fish in. Easy rig and easy search bait. So if you're just not sure where the fish are or what they're attracted to and you're just looking for them, it's a great thing to just cast out there in that open water or along those weed edges, along cover, along ledges, etc. Literally anywhere, dock fishing especially, you're gonna excel with this baby right here. So love doing that as well. Now that we're 2 out of the 5 rigs in, be a good time to talk about your rod, your reel, your line. So for this setup, I'm generally using like a multi-purpose setup. If you guys, got a couple of rods, a couple of combos, not like a whole arsenal, 40 combos, whatever, then you can go with something pretty simple. With this type of rig, I'm treating it like a jerkbait. I usually go with basically my jerkbait setup or my search bait setup or whatever you want to call it. So it's a 7-3 bait casting combo, something where I can get a good distance cast on this thing and really work it for a while, especially with like the weightless approach, or if I'm running back that underspin, I want to have lots of ground to cover, water to cover, whatever, you get it. So I have a better chance if a bass is following it that eventually they're gonna take it before they get to me at the bank or at the boat. So a nice 7-3 combo, medium heavy is totally fine, or you can go down to a medium. I kind of like to underpower it. It's a little more fun for me. And I like to go with a 7-3-to-1 gear ratio reel, something like this Akuma Hakai. The Hakai is great because whether I'm throwing that 1/4 to 1/2 ounce underspin or completely weightless, a reel like this, or even like a DC, Curado DCs, your SLXs, etc., they do a great job of casting a wide range of weights. If you get a reel built for that purpose, like the Hakai, like the SLXs, like the Curados, you're gonna have a good time, and you can just alternate those baits, not worry about switching out your line, your rod, your reel, your combos, all of that. Keep it simple. Like, ideally, keep it simple on the water. Makes life a lot more fun and a lot easier as you're trying to figure out the puzzle and catch those dang fish. Line-wise, it depends. I'm typically a braid to fluoro guy, so my main line on that reel is going to be somewhere around that 15 to 20 pound braid line, and then I'm going to drop down when I go to the fluoro, typically around 10 pounds. The fluoro also does a great job because it's invisible, so if you're in clear to stained water, you don't gotta worry about line-shy fish, and it's gonna help me get the bait where I want it to be specifically. However, if I want that weightless fluke to stay more on top, I can also swap out to monofilament line or some copolymer, and it's gonna do a better job floating. All right, this next rig I'm in love with. It is super fun to fish, and I think you guys are gonna like it too. Comes from our people over at Z-Man, but check it out. So what we have here is called the Willow Vibe. Comes in a bunch of different weights. It's essentially a ball head jig with eyes on it. Okay, so it's got the flat sides on there as well. The eyes, I think, do a good job of like attracting fish. Looks a little more natural than just a flat ball head jig. And then you get a willow blade up on top that comes in silver and gold. And because it is a willow style, instead of like your standard bigger, bulkier chatter style, it's a more subtle vibe. This is also one that is really fun and effective to yo-yo, meaning you cast it out there, let it fall, rip it on up, just pull that rod tip up and then let it fall again. You can cover a lot of ground and the water column in its entirety, and you're way more likely to get a bite. Now, this is a little bit of a shorter shank, so what I might suggest is just cut the nose section off of here. It'll butt up to the ball head section here. Then you don't have such a big section here where a fish has to eat this whole thing. However, if you're going for biggins, you want that bigger profile, maybe go that route too. Okay, but if you're struggling to get the bite or you're missing fish and they keep hitting the tail, then you can trim this down, make it a little bit shorter distance for them to strike. And of course with this, you can also run it back to the boat or the bank, wherever you're at, vary up your retrieve speeds. And again, you're figuring out the puzzle. So as you start getting more interest, more bites, more strikes, then just keep doing what's working and stop doing what hasn't worked for 15 casts or so. Okay, let's slow things down, go a little finessey and fish the bottom with this thing. Now this can work with a fork tail fluke as well, but I prefer that single tail, that normal just like little bulbous end here that we have, and that tapered tail section because of the action on a shaky head. So this, I might change my setup for now. Now, this is the only one I would change the setup for, but I'll switch to a spinning rig. I'll go medium to a medium heavy spinning setup, and I will fish a shaky head. And with that said, this is gonna sit on the bottom, kind of like so, at this slight angle, and this tail is gonna be moving around a lot. Now with that shaky head, I love fishing this around rock and heavy cover. So anywhere you see cover, because this is pretty weedless, I can just cast it right up in there. I love to just go up to some lay down, some logs, some riprap, some rocks, whatever, and just flip it in there and just hop it around. And depending on how aggressive your fish are at the time, how they're feeding up, you're gonna either slow down, hop and pause a whole bunch, maybe lift and swing it back. So you lift that rod tip up, and then the shaky head's gonna come up and kind of swing back towards you. You can swim this a little bit, or you just dead stick it because it's giving you all this action on the bottom, which makes it really enticing for the fish. So pick your shaky head, grab one of these baits that's appropriate for your water clarity, and you're gonna have a lot of fun with that. Again, switch to the spinning setup on this one. You're gonna have a lot more luck. And when you guys are fishing spinning setups, especially when you're fishing more finessey style, highly recommend high vis line. Go with like a yellow, chartreuse, I don't know, white, red, whatever. Whatever's most visible for you. Pick that color, go with that type of braid to a fluorocarbon leader, and you're gonna have a good time. That brings us to number 5. I love fishing these every single way. Weightless fluke's probably my favorite. This is coming in close second. Like, this is up there for me. I love fishing on a swim jig. So here I've got a couple of Super K swim jigs with me and a few different color variations, right? And you can color combo these however you please. These are some combos that I really like. So let me show you these. Green pumpkin blue. It's just such an awesome natural color combo for jigs. It looks great. Both under the water and above the water, of course. So it's not just catching a fisherman's eye, it's definitely catching fish all day long. And you can pair this up with the watermelon red if you want to. I went with the white. I think this combo looks juicy. This is definitely gonna catch some fish. I've had great luck with a dark jig to a light trailer all year round. Sometimes I even go like black and purple to white and get some insane catches on that. So consider doing something like that. I mean, you're semi-weedless here. Usually swim jigs have the more vertical weed guard, a little bit shorter, depending on what brand you get, right? And this little tail is gonna give you some good action. So swimming and pausing, that's my tactic of choice. It seems to do really well, especially when I'm around cover. So swim, pause, swim, pause, swim, pause. And if you watch the bass, if you got clear enough water that you can see them, they're gonna swim up on it, pause as you drop, and then they're gonna decide what they're gonna do. Generally, curious creatures, they're gonna go investigate. They don't have hands, so they use their mouth, and you catch them. And then we go with the bait fish pattern. So here we have a bluegill pattern with hints of purple in it, like just a dark, dark gill color. You got the oranges, green pumpkins, green pumpkin head. Man, just a gorgeous little color combo here. And you throw on that watermelon red off the back, and that right there is just a juicy looking bait fish. Great for darker to stained waters. Like, this is going to absolutely produce. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned on this, depending on the length of the hook, your hook shank there, you're probably gonna wanna trim the head off. So all I did was I went to the top section where you have like your hook keeper here, just to that head section and cut it right off. And what that does is allows me to keep all the action and not miss those finicky bites. So even with a short strike, I'm probably still catching that fish. There you go, another look at that juicy combo. So there you go, 5 ways to rig the Caffeine Shad, some of which I'm sure you're not doing, because I know I definitely wasn't, and you should have all these in your arsenal. Flukes are such versatile baits. Like, those plastics, you should have a lot of them in your arsenal. You can use them a million different ways. You could even drop shot this. I would power shot it if you did that, and that would be, again, because it's 4-inch plastic, right? So if you ever drop shot, you know, longer worms, especially trick worms and the like, this is that with just a fatter body section. So it works really, really well. Consider that as well. There's your bonus number 6 right there. All right, you guys, what did you think about those 5 + 1, 6 bonus ways to rig the Caffeine Shad? Are you using these riggings? Have you had success with these? And if we didn't include one of your favorite ways to rig the Caffeine Shad in this video, be sure to comment below and let us know what it is. How do you prefer to rig it? What has caught you the most fish with this type of lure? Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And of course, if you liked the video, be sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got tons of creators collaborating right here on this channel, dropping all sorts of knowledge and informing you how to fish different types of lures and learn new tactics. So if you want to keep getting better, it's a great place to be. Another great place to be is over on Aggressively Average Anglers, where we talk about very similar things and we expand our breadth of knowledge as it pertains to fishing, so we can fish every single lure in our tackle box. So we don't just fall into a comfort zone and only fish the Ned rig. We're also fishing big glide baits. We're learning all sorts of new tactics from top water to bottom fishing. It's all in there. So consider subscribing to us and joining us on one of our lives Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and we'll catch you on the next one here.